I think, in general, I would say that at GasWorks and other projects that we're working on, they're all thinking about this. The minimum flood height and all of the codes are pretty good from a structural wind. Hurricane Andrew, Miami-Dade is sort of the standard, and that's followed. And I'd say generally, if everything's built well, it's going to do okay. I'm really involved with the Urban Land Institute, ULI Tampa Bay, and Lee's here in the back. We had the Flood Center from St. Pete come and speak to us, and they kind of argued that maybe the storm seasons don't have to get worse every single year, that it could be up and down, right? So I think in general, preparing for the worst but hoping for the best is a great strategy, and I think looking at how we protect these assets that we have that are already in place that are not built to the new code is going to be the real challenge, right? TGH with their water dams, right, saved a lot of infrastructure and people during the storms, and I think that we need to continue to get smart about that. If you go to other cities around the country, those dams have become more standard, and a lot of retrofitting of assets is going to have to occur to be ready for that. And I think there's a huge insurance story, design story, development story, but Casey's pretty bullish on developing more buildings. So, are you concerned about the storm season or future storm seasons, Casey?
Of course. No, I listen. I think if you drove Boca Grande 2 days after, name the last 3 major storms that crossed through there. I mean, the houses that were built in the last 15 years, there's not even a soffit board missing. So as the neighborhoods turn over, the useful life of a building is 50 years. I think you're going to see more resilience in the community. You're going to have areas that the water comes in, it's very inconvenient and destructive or whatever it is, but when it goes out, within 36 to 48 hours, everybody's back to normal. And I just believe that it's just a part of kind of regrowth and renewal in the community as these houses and structures get updated and rebuilt, they'll be more resilient when the storms come through. And then as far as protecting our older assets and everything, I mean, we just have to get better at flood proofing and the dams and all the things that we're doing. I mean, we're doing it now. We install flood panels on any existing structure that doesn't need to be raised or can't be raised because it's historic, and we're taking the steps on all of these projects and so that it's resilient, so that yes, if it happens, it's going to happen, but it doesn't disrupt life in a major way.
I'd like to jump in and answer that from a little bit of a different side. I mean, we were on the front lines immediately following the hurricanes, met with many people, many homeowners, south of Gandy, Palmetto Beach, Davis Islands, that this is their homes. This is where they've made their lifelong investments. And many people have been in their homes. I met with a husband and wife from Culberth Isle that they've been in their home for 36 years. And they only wanted to know where they fell in line with the 50% rule. And are they going to have to raise their home? And I don't know that it's necessarily the city's decision. We worked it out. We looked at their numbers, and they could fix their home instead of demolishing it and rebuilding it. And as we concluded the conversation together, the question was, is this going to happen again? And the answer is yes. I just don't know when. I don't know if you're going to fix your home and it's going to be 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. And the woman looked at me and she said, I had my children in this home and they've gotten married and my grandchildren are in this home, and I'm willing to take the risk that if I repair it, I might have another 36 years. And I feel like it's important that our residents and our property owners get the right to make those choices. Now, that being said, the other side to that coin is if you come in and tell me I want to take my house down and build a new house, clearly you're going to be in a safer position. But in the state, typically we are a very private property rights driven state, and while we benefit substantially from our participation in the National Flood Insurance Program, you get 25% right now. We're working very hard through some of the changes I mentioned earlier to be able to offer a 35% reduction in the flood insurance premiums. That also comes at a responsibility on the part of the municipality to implement these new codes. So I think that there's a myriad of answers. I don't know that there is one right answer, but I do think that as we look forward and as the climate and the fabric changes, if you haven't driven through South Tampa and you haven't driven through Davis Island to see the homes that are no longer there, that might not be your neighborhood, but there is definitely a change in our community as far as what it looks like. We're looking now to kind of see home sales and different things that have happened, but I think we need to be forward thinking, but we also need to be respectful of our residents and the decisions that they're making and the realities that they're making them under as we move forward.